dreams fade away when their lights come on. Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. If you ain't ready, better buckle in. We're gonna bring the house down and do it right. Somebody's gonna get lucky tonight. Girls and boys, everybody make some noise. Welcome to the show.
Howdy, 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 and welcome to the Red Dirt Aggie Show. I'm Brian, the Red Dirt Aggie, and I'm here today with our special guest, Delaney. Is that right? Make sure I say it right. Delaney Ann.
Yeah, howdy, Alex.
Well, howdy, we're glad to have you here today, and I just want to give you, a second to kind of introduce yourself to your audience you may be watching and our audience as well.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me on. I'm excited to be here and chat with a fellow ag. I'm
Always.
living in Nashville right now, so I don't get to see a ton of Aggies all the time. So, yeah, it's great to chat. I'm Delaney. If you don't know me, I'm a singer-songwriter. Originally from Texas, graduated from A&M class of 21, and I'm living in Nashville, living the dream, doing some touring, and putting a single out for the first time in a while in just a couple weeks here. So yeah, I'm excited to chat.
Right on, and yeah, we're definitely looking forward to the single. We've already heard it over here at the Red Dirt Aggie Show, and it sounds pretty great, and I'm sure we'll get into that here in a little bit. But what was it like for you moving from Texas to Nashville? Was that like a big adjustment moving over there, or I mean, I'm sure it was exciting too. Obviously, all the opportunities.
Yeah, for sure. So, I met my husband in college, pretty early in college. We got married out of college, and he's military, active duty right now.
Oh
And
wow!
so, I kind of had always wanted to live in Nashville my whole life. I grew up doing music. I started at
Right?
9 years old playing gigs, and I always wanted to live in Nashville. In my mind, it was just this magical land,
Yeah.
of country singers. And so I always wanted to live there, but I kind of thought, oh, I'm getting married, he's in the military. We probably have to put that dream on hold for a while. And then the military just happened to move us right outside Nashville. So it worked out really, really great. I couldn't have written it better myself. So yeah, it was definitely a big adjustment. But the songwriting community here in Nashville is absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Um, we definitely miss Texas a lot. There's so many things we miss, Texas people know. But yeah, we've loved it here so far, and it's been good.
Well, yeah, and it's just you know, it seems like, earlier on when Texas music first kind of was getting started, back in the day, they would dog on Nashville a lot and stuff. But the thing is now all these Texas artists that are from Texas and that are writing all their own songs and everything, they go over to Nashville and they just record over there because that's where all of the
Really?
recording is. And the thing is it's like, it's all everybody wants to see everybody be successful, and it's just that's a great place to be. To all the songwriters over there and everything. I want to get the chance to go out to Nashville. I haven't had that chance to be there yet, and as much as I
Wow.
love, music and everything, I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, it's neat, and you're so right that Texas hasn't so much become its like own segmented thing. It's like its own genre now, but they
Yeah.
blend together in a lot of ways, and
Oh yeah.
yeah, it's been cool to see everybody supporting each other out here and supporting Texas artists and vice
Oh yeah.
versa. So for sure.
Yeah, I think it's awesome, and just the lines of like really all genres are all kind of starting to blur now. Like I mean, even people who have stuff that they call Texas country, but it sounds like alternative pop punk from like the '90s and
Yeah,
2000s,
100%.
and that's not a bad thing either. Like I think everything that everyone's making nowadays is pretty sweet. So,
Absolutely.
um, but what kind of made you get into music, or kind of got you into playing music in the first place?
Yeah, so I don't come from a musical family or anything, but my dad had this guitar that was given to him for Christmas in I think like the 60s. He never picked
Right.
it up. Case was dusty. Found it in the attic, opened it up, and there was a book in there that had chords. I taught
Right.
myself how to play a couple chords. I was, I think, in fifth grade at this time. Um, and I learned G, C, D, E minor, and I was set to go. So, yeah, I started learning chords, and then I started begging my mom to take me to open mics. We were living in Fort Worth at the time,
Oh
and they had
yeah.
so many cool, awesome live music venues and so many neat opportunities. I got to play at Billy Bob's when I was like 10 years old or
Wow.
something. Looking back is just like insane. But yeah,
Yeah.
it was a sick place to get my music career started, and
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
I've just been going ever since. Haven't stopped. So
Yeah, I love the whole Fort Worth area. I'm from down in the Houston area. I live in Magnolia, but
cool. Yeah, my parents are in Conroe.
oh yeah, that's right down the road. And some people don't know that's where Parker's from too. He's over at Parker McCollum over in Conroe too.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think Cody Johnson lives around here somewhere too now, or has a ranch or something.
Yeah,
Uh,
we have a little place outside College Station. My family has little, we've got some cattle, and we had a plumber out there. I could be quoting this story wrong, quoting my dad wrong, but he was like, the plumber that came out to our house was like, "Oh, sorry, I was just working on Cody Johnson's house before yours." I was like, "Only in Texas."
yeah, yeah, it's crazy. It really is. There's so much talent all over the place.
For real.
Um, but what really is your favorite part of the whole music creation process? Is it kind of coming up with a new song, or is it getting to perform your songs for other people, or just maybe when that song finally comes out?
Yeah, it's funny you asked that because I originally I moved to Nashville to be a songwriter was what I had in mind when we got to
Right.
town. I was like, I'm gonna do the writing thing. It's my favorite part. That's what I was meant to do. That's what I'm best at. And the artist thing was just kind of on the back burner. I was like, if I release something, I release something. It doesn't really matter. Um, but then, I started to kind of I had all these songs that weren't going to get cut by anybody else. I said, well, then I'm going to put them out myself, like nobody else is going to sing them. I'm going to do it. But I would say songwriting has always been like the number one thing for me.
Hmm.
Writing that lyric that, like somebody at a gig walks up to you and says, that actually reminds me of this. I wrote a song recently, hoping it comes out in the near future here. It's called Wish You Were Here. And I wrote it about my experience as a military spouse going through
Yeah.
my husband being deployed, and a woman walked up to me at a gig and told me that it really resonated with her because her spouse was battling cancer, and I just love the way music can do that. And
Yeah, because people can take those words and kind of interpret them with whatever's going on with them, and maybe
yeah,
they even think that's what it's about, and then they find out something else. But it's like that's this, you can even break it down, lyric by lyric, and a song might be about something totally different. But when it resonates with someone, I'm sure that's the goal.
yeah, 100%. That's just my favorite part is, writing the song and then somebody telling me like that lyric is exactly what I've been feeling. That's what I've been trying to put to words. That's just, I think, the best feeling as an artist. So
Yeah, and do, I wanted to give you an opportunity too to give your husband a shout out. I know you said he's deployed. Where is he currently right now?
he just got back. He was he was in Europe for a while.
Uh,
He was there for 9 months, and
wow.
yeah, it was our longest time we've been apart. We met when we were 18, and before that we
Yeah.
had done about 3 months apart. So 9 months was a long time, but he got home just in time for the holidays and everything.
Oh,
So
perfect.
we're glad he's back for sure.
Yeah, well, we thank him for his service for sure. Uh, but what is really the hardest part of being a musician? What's maybe something that people don't think about when?
Yeah, no, I mean, there's a lot of days that you're like, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? And it always comes back to the lyrics and the people that support you, but I think one of the hardest things for me is definitely like the social media aspect and the numbers game and the like how many views on TikTok do you have? Like
Yep.
that that part is killer to me. Um,
Relatable with a
yeah,
podcast.
it's brutal out there, but it's all part of the process. It's all part of the journey, and uh, you know, it's hard to keep posting. What do they say? Like 7 times a day or something insane. Like
Oh gosh, I hope not, because I don't do 7 times a day even.
right, and you think about like the Beatles and like the great musicians of the world. They weren't
Yeah,
having to think about is this going to blow up on TikTok. They were thinking about how to make great art. Um,
yeah,
so I don't know. That's kind of why for me it's important to have like a lot of people supporting me and on my side and on my team so that I can take some of those burdens off, and
right.
just try to write good songs. So.
Well, and I think you know, it's I draw similarities when people talk about social media for promoting music, kind of with a podcast,
Yeah,
because we're always trying to find ways to repurpose like the episodes into different content. So if it's TikToks or Instagram Reels, a lot of times we make the little shorts and things,
sure.
and it's time consuming to go in and find the exact part and edit it, make it look nice, come up with a caption and the right hashtags, and then you post it, it gets 50
Yeah,
views or something, and you're like, I did all of that,
for
and that's it.
real. For real. And for me, I'm always like, my hair looks bad in that. I can't post that. So
Oh yeah,
yeah, no, for
but it's
sure.
just
It's a brutal social media game, but when you do have that like one thing that pops off, you're like, okay, I'm doing something. So
yeah, and it's I found too that it's always when I'm almost at like the breaking point, like, oh my gosh, this is so frustrating. That something cool will happen. I'll be like, I think I'm doing okay because like this happened, so I think I just need to keep trying, keep going.
that's exactly it. I was having like a really rough down on myself time with social media, and I was like, ugh, I can't keep doing this TikTok thing. It's like sucking the life out of me. And then boom, I had a TikTok just blow up. It's that song that's about to come out.
Yeah.
500,000 views. Like you never think that thing's gonna happen, and then it just does. It
Yeah, and
just
it's
does.
always like the posts that you're like, I don't know how this will do. But those are the ones that always like, boom, and you're like,
Yeah.
really? I put this one out that's like, I
So much
spent so much
better.
time on it, I planned everything, but it only got a few.
Yeah, the
You know,
algorithm is
so
just
random.
angry. For sure.
It's so random. And I think it's because people are random too. And
Yeah,
just the right person that shares something is what makes it go off. I don't know, really. I
so
think
true.
only TikTok knows.
Yeah.
Um, social media. But yeah, social media definitely a challenging part of that. Another challenging part I hear artists say a lot, particularly ones that are touring a lot and stuff, is just all the travel that they have to
Mhm.
do.
Yeah.
And maybe that's lessened a little bit by you already being in Nashville, because I know a lot of them talk about traveling to Nashville to record and then back
Right.
to where they are. But when you are, and if you are traveling and you go into a gas station, what's your go-to gas station snack?
Ooh, that's such a good question. Okay, so I do travel a lot for music. I'm lucky enough
Yeah.
to be able to kind of have the tour bus experience and get to kind of travel that way, which has been a
Oh yeah.
huge blessing. And we stop at every Love's ever. Feel like touring is like 90% of my time is in a Love's. I get the cookie dough bites
Oh
every
yes, so good.
every time I get the cookie dough bites. And then I try to like pretend to balance it out by getting some kind of fruit so I feel better about myself.
Yeah.
And then maybe some sunflower seeds and a root beer. And that's like usually kind of what lunch on the road looks like for me. Like that's lunch. That's it. Cookie dough and an orange and a root beer.
And then what brand of root beer are you gonna shout out? Be
Okay.
careful. Which one do you want to sponsor you?
Gosh. Well, okay. So I don't know how I feel pigeonholing myself into one brand, but I will
Right.
shout out in Fort Worth, I think it's in Denton actually. There's a place called Frosty's
Oh.
Diner. and they
Hmm.
make homemade root beer with
Oh.
homemade ice cream, a homemade root beer float. It is
Oh.
the best thing that you it's like it looks like a 50s diner when you walk in, jukeboxes,
Yeah.
everything. So if you're ever anybody in Denton area, you've got to go check out Frosties. It's the
Frosties.
one. It's the one for me.
That
Besides that, it's
sounds
all root beer to me. I'm like, meh.
that sounds pretty awesome.
It's good.
I remember when I was a kid, I used to always get the IBC root beers and
Those are
pretend I was an adult having the adult drinks, right? Because they come in the glass bottle and it looks like a beer.
Those are so good. I actually went to Fredericksburg a couple weeks ago. We were down there. I got to play some of those fun pickers, open circles, and I went to a restaurant and I said, "Can I get a root beer?" He didn't hear me say root. He said, he said, "What kind of beer would you like?" And I said, "Root." And it was. He looked at me like, "Okay, this lady's crazy," but I was like, "Root beer."
That's really funny, actually.
So root.
Well, it's funny you mentioned Fredericksburg. I was there not too long ago. My parents have a place in Johnson City, which isn't too far
Oh,
away. There's an ice house not too far from there too, that also
yeah.
has a dance hall.
Um,
It's Albert Ice House, I think.
so I went there and I did an open pickers circle. Um,
Oh, so that's
and
where you were. Okay.
yeah, we went to Albert's Ice House. It honestly, so I did the Lukenbach open pickers circle when I was like 11 or 12. Those for me are the most like soul exciting, beautiful moments as a musician is just
Right.
sitting around with a bunch of musicians. You have no agenda. Nobody's trying to be impressive. Nobody cares if you play a wrong note. Like, you're just pure vibes. So good. So good. I love the hill country for that. It's awesome.
Yeah, and it's so laid back out there, and then you have like music at a lot of the places you go, the wineries and the different ice houses and things like that. It's nice out there. It's beautiful out there
Yeah.
too, for
So good.
sure.
So
Um, but yeah, so shout out to the hill country,
yeah, shout
and the
out. Shout
wineries and everything.
out.
Um, but here's your question on chili. Do beans belong in chili? It's the Rich O'Toole question, I call it.
Thank you for asking me this. They do not belong in Chile.
Really?
I have had a lot of opinions on this. I actually put this on my Instagram story a while ago as a poll.
Right.
Ever since the Cody Johnson song came out, I feel like people have been talking about it even more.
Oh yeah.
Um, and here's why I think that. Here's why I think that. Texas chili does not have beans. Now,
Allegedly, depending on who you ask.
other chili can have beans, but beans were only added to chili when meat got expensive. So
True.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
So
Now,
as a history major, maybe I should support that argument then.
maybe you should. And if somebody handed me chili with beans, I'm gonna be so happy. I don't mind. Chili is great, no matter
Yeah, it's
what.
like the thing is when it comes down to it, it's like I'm gonna eat it either way,
I'm gonna
probably.
eat
But
it
like,
either. I'm gonna eat it either way. Some Fritos, some onions, I'm good to go.
yeah, and it's like I don't. I think my opinion on it that I've always had is like, okay, I kind of like chili with beans, so I'm good with that. But if I was gonna eat like chili and put it on a hot dog, I don't think it needs to have beans in there because I think that's pretty weird. Or like if I'm gonna have like
With
a
that.
Frito pie or something, well actually Frito pie maybe some. I don't know. I don't know. But on a hot dog, beans are kind of weird. That's where we draw the line.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think as a Texan though, I just feel it in my soul, in my blood that I'm supposed to say no. It doesn't. It
Hmm.
shouldn't. It shouldn't.
And you mentioned feeling like Texas is in your blood, and I know that's kind of what the new single that you have coming out here pretty soon deals with. And can you tell us anything about that song, or would you like
Yeah,
to? Can you announce the date yet, or give us any information on it?
for sure. Yeah, so my new single, This Ain't Country Club, is coming out February 16th. I'm super pumped. We're gonna have a big party in Nashville for it. And ironically, the song is kind of about all the fake cowboys I met when I came to Nashville. I Yeah, I grew up. I'm an eighth generation Texan, and so it really truly is in my blood. My grandfather, I always say, is one of the only real cowboys left. I mean, he is the real deal as a rancher, as a cowboy. He's actually getting inducted into the Texas Cowboy Hall of Fame this spring.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
so he's like
Congrats
legit
to him.
cowboy. Yeah, he's legit cowboy. And so I think I grew up around that and around cattle and around like a real cowboy. And so I got to Nashville and I was like, what are y'all doing? Like, what are y'all doing here? So, yeah, the song is really funny. It has a lot of lines that I'm excited about, one of my favorite lines is he'll say howdy ma'am on that first date and then put ketchup on his steak, you know. So just kind of
Yeah.
poking fun at some of the things I've noticed around here, that's all.
Oh, for sure. And yeah, I really enjoyed the song. I think people are going to have a lot of fun with it. And I think maybe even I think social media is going to like it too.
Mhm.
I could see it. I could see it blowing up in that way too. Maybe some trends and stuff too, with people, poking a little bit of fun at the fake cowboys out there.
I hope so. I hope it helps a lot of people out there kind of make fun of some friends or some coworkers for sure. That's the goal. So
Maybe it'll teach the fake cowboys how to act like real cowboys too.
yeah, yeah, that'd be even better, even better.
And then so you have that one coming out soon. Um, And I was just wondering if you have like a favorite song that you have written so far, whether it's released or not released,
Mm,
however much you want to share about it. But what's your favorite song that you've ever written or been a part of writing?
yeah. Oh, thanks for asking that. That's a great question. So I think as of right now, and it's always changing. I think my favorite song I've written is called Tennessee Talkin', and it's about kind of my Texas roots and lineage. And it was about coming to Nashville and being scared to lose those Texas roots.
Right.
So one of my favorite lines is, I come from a long line of cowboys and ranchers. I don't know where that leaves me, and I'm looking for answers. You know, so it just kind of talks about how I'm searching for that and missing that sometimes in my life. But the hook says, my mama would say that's, it's not something you lose. That's just Tennessee talking to you. So I think sometimes the Nashville talk gets loud, and kind of like
Right.
we talked about the numbers game and the social media and the this and the that, but that song kind of always reminds me to stay true to my roots and to remember that it's not about the Nashville business and the numbers and the this and that. It's about making art that
Good
is
music and
true
yeah.
and real to me and authentic and honest. And yeah, so that was definitely a special one to write. And I always say I hope that my best and favorite songs are ahead of me as well. So, you know.
Well, yeah, and I'm sure any songwriter would say that, right? They just hope that they keep getting better and better at what they're doing.
Yeah,
But
that's the goal is
yeah.
to not say that's the best one. I'm out here.
um, but yeah, and I think that's cool. I like the whole concept with that one. Talking about not wanting to lose the Texas roots, but still realizing that you needed to go to Nashville and kind of take that journey as well too, and just kind of you know making the best of pulling the best from both areas together.
Absolutely.
And then, who are some of your major influences, or where do you draw inspiration from the most in your songwriting and in your music?
Yeah. So, I would definitely say a huge influence for me right now is Caitlin Butts.
Oh
I'm like
yeah,
huge fan of what she does, her voice, her songwriting, everything. Absolutely incredible. I love the way she's bringing that traditional country sound
yeah.
back. And I've been writing a lot in 3/4 just like she does, so I'm definitely influenced by Caitlin Butts a ton lately. um, and Gretchen Wilson for sure is another huge inspiration. Redneck Woman, like listening to that as a kid, I was always just like, I want to make music this fun, this exciting, that makes people want to
Yeah.
dance. And I think this new single definitely shows that side of my songwriting. It's a little more fun. It's a little silly, and I think as an artist, you always have to be okay with not being so serious. And it's cool to make music that makes people want to dance. You know,
Yeah, yeah, it's good to have a mix of a little bit of everything too.
yeah,
Like, and you want to have those songs for the fun moments, the happy moments, the sad moments.
for
Just
sure.
whatever you're feeling, whatever the vibe is, right? As they say,
Yeah, no, exactly,
because it changes, and I think that definitely should change throughout your songs too.
for sure. Yeah.
Um, and you said you're traveling a lot for music and playing shows and writing songs and
Yeah.
such. And what's maybe some of or one of the craziest things you've seen while you've been out on the road?
Ooh, okay. So we were recently, I went down to Ruidoso, New Mexico to record, which was a super fun experience. We took the bus all the way we started in Chicago, down through Nashville. I think we went through like Oklahoma, Texas, and then over to New Mexico. So it was a long journey.
Right.
When we were in Ruidoso, there were wild horses everywhere.
Oh wow.
That was insane to see. Um, yeah, and I heard a story that the pack of horses, there was one lonely horse that got
Hmm.
kicked out of the group.
Oh.
And so I kept telling the driver and everybody on the bus that we needed to go find it and feed it and help it make friends. But we didn't really have time for that. We were making music, so didn't get to go do that. But yeah, no, that was probably one of the craziest things I've seen.
Sounds like that could be a song right there or something, right? The Lonely Horse out there. So
I feel like it
there's
was a
got to be
children's
something
book,
in there,
like a
or
children's
or a
book, like
children's book at least. So there's got to be a story there, right?
a lonely horse. Yeah, for sure, something. Oh,
But yeah, poor horse.
poor horse. I know. I think about
maybe
it
it
all
was
the
just
time.
maybe that horse was just mean, and they're just like, get
Yeah,
out.
maybe it deserved to be kicked out. We
Yeah,
don't
maybe he
know.
deserved to
We
be
don't know
kicked out.
the story.
Maybe he was eating all the other horses' food, and that's why they kicked him out. So he doesn't need to be fed.
Yeah, yeah,
um, but you mentioned earlier. I can't remember if it was when we started filming or before we started filming, but that you also are like me, an Aggie. Um, and have you? I'm assuming you have gotten the chance to play a lot up in College Station. You said your career kind of started up in College Station, but have you
yeah.
been back recently and performed at any of the newer locations?
Yeah, for sure. I think I grew up performing all through high school. I started touring when I was 15, going to all these different high schools and middle schools, and that's kind of how really got my start. And then freshman year at A&M, I started to play at Century Square a little bit, and
Oh
then
yeah.
yeah, the front porch there, and then Block T Bar and Grill. So yeah, I mean, I definitely, whenever I come back to College Station, I'm always like, I got to get one gig in because it's just so fun to play up there, and there's nothing like playing for a bunch of Aggies. It's just great,
Whoop.
good, good, good folks. So for sure.
Yeah, and there's a lot of good venues up there, small and big alike. And I mean, now they even have a grocery store where you can perform that Brookshire Brothers with a stage, which
Yeah,
is blows my mind. But it's changed a lot. I was a freshman up there in 2014, and like everything that's been built, I think I thought about this the other day. 'Cause, I'm back and forth, still go up there all the time,
yeah,
concerts, sporting events, whatever. I only live an hour away, but I just thought about the other day. I was like, man, when I was a freshman, like a lot of this stuff just didn't exist,
yeah,
and
it's insane.
only half of Kyle Field was done when I was a freshman, the student section side. Then they blew up the other side in the summer.
Yeah.
after that season. And so I just think about, like, everything from on campus to off campus that's been built. That Berkshire Brothers, all of that Century Square and stuff wasn't there my freshman year, even that you're talking about. And then, like, as I was starting to get towards graduating, that's when all that stuff got built. But
Yeah, all the good
uh,
gets there after we're gone, right? Like,
yeah, and I'm like, now I got there and I'm like, y'all got like four HEBs and like
right? No, and
six Chick-fil-A's.
exactly. I was driving, and I saw there's a new cookie place right
Yeah.
next to my freshman dorm, and I was like, it's probably for the best that that wasn't there when I was a freshman. It's probably for the best.
Yeah, it's like my dorm was across the street from a McDonald's, and I'm like, that's a terrible idea. I was over at Callaway House, and it
Oh
was like right next to McDonald's. I'm like, I can literally walk across the street and eat cheeseburgers. I'm like, this is not gonna be good for me.
yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I think that location even closed now, and now they've built a whole nother restaurant like down across from. I was just there the other day at a basketball game. I was just there last weekend, and they've built a. They moved like the McDonald's down across from CC Creations now, and I'm
No,
like driving through, and I'm like, this wasn't even here last time I was here. This is nuts.
no, it's insane. And I always ask my dad because my dad graduated in '84 and my mom graduated in '85. And I'm like, is this weird for y'all? Like, do you drive around and you're like, what is going on? And they're like, yes. They're like, it is so weird. And then my grandfather went to A&M, and he would always say, none of this was, oh, it's so crazy. And I was like, oh, you're just old. But now I'm like, none of this was here. Like, I just,
Yeah, it's
just
just the
how,
growth.
yeah,
It's been insane how fast that place is growing, and it's really starting to turn into more of a city than a station or a town, like it's
for
called. And I mean, they have more there than where I live. I live in
sure.
Magnolia, and I'm like, there's more restaurants and shops and stuff to
Yeah,
do up here than where I live.
crazy. It's
um,
insane.
yeah, of course, everything's open later up there too. Everything here closes at like 10.
Yeah, I know. The party never
But
ends over there in College Station, so
yeah, the road goes on forever and the party never ends, as they say, right? Like Robert
amen.
O. Keane.
Amen.
Um, but yeah, so we talked about music venues. What's maybe the coolest music venue that you've gotten the chance to perform in, or your favorite one that you've
Mhm.
gotten the chance to perform in, and maybe some that you have as goals to perform at or in someday?
That's a great question. I know I already talked about this, but I gotta say that playing Billy Bob's when I was, I think, 11,
Yeah.
and I think it was a contest, and the couple finalists got to play or something, so I got to sing a few songs. But I'll always remember standing on that stage and being like, I want to do this for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Uh, you can't really beat that. So yeah, for sure, Billy Bob's. And then I just went and saw Turnpike there a couple weeks ago, and I was
Oof,
like, this
that's
is,
sick.
it was insane. It was sold
Yeah.
out. It was crazy. It was so good. So yeah, definitely Billy Bob's. And then on my list, I'd really love to play Do right down the road from you.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a great venue.
would love to play Do. I'm always looking for those venues that are full of people that want to hear stories and want to listen to songwriters. I'm not the
It's
big
awesome.
band kind of, I'm always looking for
Hmm.
like, is it Mucky Duck is another great one I'm trying
Yeah,
to
that one downtown, I've
listen
heard
to.
good things
Yeah,
about that
just
too.
trying to get into venues where people want to hear a song and want to hear why I wrote it, and want to hear some real authentic country music. So.
Well, the Do-Si Do, the thing with that place too is the acoustics and everything in there are so incredible that, and everyone's very respectful that's there watching the music. It's like dead silent when people are performing. People are almost like whispering, watching too, and
Yeah,
it's a totally different vibe. And it's like I think both vibes are great going to a show. And it's like whatever you're in the mood for, But when you go there, you really get like a unique experience compared to probably seeing any artist play anywhere else.
for
And
sure.
then they have really good food there too that they prepare every day. It's like an experience almost going
Yeah.
there. And I went and saw. It was funny. I actually interviewed Brandon Ryder at my house, and then basically followed him over and went and watched him perform
Wow.
over at the Do Si Do. And then you know, he shouted out the podcast at the at the concert and everything. I was like, oh, this is cool. But it was
That's
really
awesome.
nice of him. I saw he was going to be playing nearby, and I'm like, hey, if you want, we could just do this in person. And he's like, all right. He showed up at my house, so I'm like, all
Yeah,
right, let's go.
I love
So,
it.
shout out to Brandon Ryder, by the way. Great
That
songwriter,
was
great
writer.
guy.
That's amazing. I love that.
Um,
Yeah, do and it's the staff and everybody. I've gotten to be there for a few events, kind of behind the scenes a little bit, and just incredible people that run everything behind the
oh
scenes.
yeah,
It's a good vibe for sure.
yeah. And then they have a smaller like version of it too, or something called the barbecue. Because there's like the main Dosey Do, and then there's another one too that they have
Yeah, so
artists play at too. And I haven't got the chance to go to that one yet.
well,
But
if you'd like to, this is a long way out, but I'm playing there in May. I'll have to send out the date and
oh
everybody
yeah.
watching, if you want to follow along on social media, that date will come out soon. And yeah, I am playing there, so that is exciting.
Okay, awesome. Well, we'll have to see if we can get out there. And I'm a teacher, so maybe I'll be out of school and I'll be able to make it over there no matter what night it is.
Someone's just
Yeah,
around the corner. You're almost there.
yeah, yeah. It's January. We're almost there though.
For
Oh
sure.
man, yeah.
Um,
But uh, any venues that you have kind of as goals for the future? Um,
um,
you know, I guess you mentioned wanting to play at that one, but
yeah,
um, any
no
other
secret
ones?
for sure. I am hopeful to play at the Listening Room in Nashville this spring, which is just a great venue because, kind of like I talked about, it's full of people that are there to listen to storytellers and listen to songs. So that's definitely on my bucket list. But yeah, honestly, I'm just trying to get out there on the road and do some solid touring in this next year and connect with people. And yeah, I'm excited.
And what would you say is your ultimate goal for your career as a musician, if you have one? I know you mentioned kind of just wanting people to connect to your songs, but do you have kind of like an ultimate goal as well, or is that the ultimate
Yeah.
goal?
Yeah, no, I think that's a great question, and I think evaluating what that goal is so important as an artist because I think going in with the idea of like, okay, I'm going to win 10 Grammys, that's an amazing goal to have. But for me, at the end of the day, like I want to just focus on the art and hope that it's good enough that it takes me where I'm supposed to go. I want to make songs so good that I build a fan base and connect with people that want to listen to my music. And for me, the ultimate goal would be like helping people in their day to day life through my music, which I know sounds simple, but it's harder to do than it sounds. So,
Well, no, because I mean that is something you have. That means you have to be writing like powerful songs,
yeah,
for that to happen, and then you have to get it in front of the right audience, and then get it
yeah,
out there to everyone. You still have to push your content out. I mean, no, like
for
that,
sure.
and I think that's a really cool goal to have. Rather than just like, oh, I want to win awards, because that just means a lot of people listen to it, or that maybe one person liked it, whoever was like being the judge for that. But when it comes to like connecting with people and helping people, I think that's really more important. Building that audience and then connecting
For
with that
sure.
audience.
Yeah, and I think about the way music's helped me throughout my life, from awkward middle school days to like meeting my husband in college. Like music
Yeah,
has always been the thing I've turned to in like great moments or not so great moments, and so I really want to be that for people, for someone even, and so yeah, there's like a lot of little goals within that. I really want to approach some Texas radio this coming year. I really want to do solid touring. There's like some goals within that, but I think the ultimate goal for me is going to be to just like help people through music at the end of the day.
and you said you're from a Conroe, right?
Yeah, so my parents live there. I
K
grew
Star would be a good one to. I was
Yeah,
thinking like 99.7 K Star would be a good one to reach out to.
yeah, for sure. I've been talking with Maverick Radio a little bit, who's
Oh
been
yeah,
really great and awesome, and I know they're so great about supporting up and coming artists. So yeah,
Yeah, and yeah, I know the Maverick. Yeah, that or Maverick, like you were saying, is good. And then I know that K Star around here they play a lot of Texas artists and stuff mixed in with just the normal popular whatever else
Yeah.
they play too. But and then there's like also a lot of HD radio stations too and stuff around here, like something 100.3 KIKK around here, which is like a
Yeah.
lot of letters and numbers and things, but they play nothing but Texas country, which is kind of cool. If you have that setting in your car, you can drive around and listen to it. But
I
I
love
like
it.
it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Again, just my singles coming out February 16th. It's called This Ain't Country Club. You'll be able to pre-save it soon. Yeah, I'm so grateful you had me on just to chat about all things Aggie and all things music. So,
yeah, absolutely, and we enjoyed having you on. If you ever want to be on again, just let us know. We'll be happy to have you back.
love it. Awesome. Thanks so much.
But absolutely, this has been Red Dirt Aggie Show. I'm Brian, the Red Dirt Aggie, and that over there is Delaney Ann. And for tuning in and listening, be sure to go listen to her new single
The
for
16th.
February 16th, wherever you get your music, right? Spotify, Apple, all that,
Is
all of them.
all
All
of
right,
them.
so stay tuned to our social media and hers as well. And we'll have it linked in the description and everything as well. But until next time, gig 'em and God bless. See you next time. Bye.